Call to order this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council. It is Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson? Here. Vogelsang? Here. Quinn? Peterson? Here. Freeman?
Here.
Okay, Councilors Freeman, Peterson, Knutson, Vogelsang are all in attendance, and I believe Wynn will be here soon, as our administrator Kelly Hayworth is here, City Clerk Johnson, City Attorney Olson, and many valued staff in the audience. A motion to approve the amended agenda. We need to remove item number 10 and number 20.
I would also like to motion to move item 4 to follow community comments.
Okay, moved by Knutson.
We
Need
need a second on.
Move item
Yes,
4
yeah.
A second.
Yep.
follow community
Second by Councilor Freeman. Maybe roll call?
Well, no,
Or-
it'll be a voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor?
comment. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Removing number 10 and number 20 and moving number 4 to after community comments. Okay, this portion of the meeting is 20 minutes for community comments. It's an opportunity for members of the public to speak directly to the council about items pertinent to the city of Coralville. Does not have to have scheduled hearing. Open meeting laws did not allow council to engage in discussion or debate, but we do appreciate hearing your thoughts and concerns. Please step up to the podium, sign your name and address, stand close to the microphone, say your name, and speak no more than 3 minutes. We now have a timer up here, and that will help us all to know the 3 minutes. Thank you. Who would like to speak with us tonight?
My name is Alana Swenka. I want to remind you all that the most important thing a public servant can do, and the bare minimum this council can do, is let its citizens talk. Any time limits that are set are arbitrary and made up and can and should change based on the demands of the citizens present. To do otherwise is a statement that you don't care about citizens. Censuring Laurie was already a symbolic move at its best, but without formal documents outlining exactly what Laurie did wrong, it is meaningless. I support censure, but at this point it is not enough. You need to call for her resignation. It is clear Laurie doesn't actually understand or own all the things she has done wrong. This goes beyond the First Amendment violation of harassing citizens after a meeting and beyond the attempted assault she committed. Laurie continues to weaponize the agenda to disenfranchise the citizens and take away their power. Katie Freeman made it clear how she has done this with proclamations, and we have all seen her do this now twice with community comments. But the final nail in the coffin that changed me from calling for censure to calling for resignation is Laurie, with no remorse, lied to all of us at the last meeting. As part of her non-apology, she said, "I didn't try to take anyone's phone." This is such a blatant lie, it's hard to understand why Laurie would think she can get away with saying it. The moment she tries to snatch the phone is caught on camera, as well as her admitting to it about 20 minutes later. The fact that she did this is not up for debate. It is on camera. This is a crime of attempted assault, and Laurie could still be charged with it and face legal consequences. Despite it being well recorded, she tried to lie about it to all the citizens and the council. If Laurie is willing to lie about something she did on camera during her official duties as mayor, then what else is she lying to us about? How can we ever trust a mayor who has so resolutely lied to our faces? She can never be trusted again. There is no path forward with a liar as mayor. If this council will not do the right thing and demand the resignation of a woman who has committed attempted assault on camera and lied about it while performing her duties as mayor, I want to implore the victim of Laurie's attempted assault to please seriously consider bringing charges against her. If this liar wants to continue to hold the title of mayor, make her hold it while also holding the title of convict.
Hello, my name is Linda Mullen. I am a Coralville resident. I'm going to talk about procedure tonight, and I understand procedure isn't sexy, but procedure is what keeps governmental power honest. And it matters most when government does something extraordinary, like censuring a mayor. We need to rewind the tape here tonight, I think, because there have been major, meaningful procedural failures throughout this series of events. First, the mayor unilaterally removed community comments from the August 11 agenda. That was not a procedural hiccup. Public participation should not appear and disappear when public criticism becomes uncomfortable. But then on August 11th, that same night, a majority of this council said that it wanted the censure issue discussed at a work session. The city attorney said it could be noticed for tonight's work session, and the mayor agreed. But it didn't happen. I don't know what individual council members may have done privately, and we're going to learn some of that, I think, tonight. But that's precisely the point. We shouldn't have to wonder. A public work session would have let residents watch the deliberation and judge for themselves how their elected representatives exercised their constitutional responsibilities in this very serious situation. But instead, that agenda item on the work session disappeared, and the mayor, the person whose conduct is under review, controls the agenda. In its place, a bare motion on proposal to censure appears on the meeting agenda tonight. But why? The mayor told the media that she had asked the council to censure her, but that's not what happened. The council began an accountability process involving the mayor. The mayor did not initiate one involving herself. Then we arrived at tonight. No proposed resolution in the agenda packet, no written censure that we've seen, no findings. For the extraordinary act of censuring the mayor, we have less meaningful process, not more. And then strangely, community comments were moved, again unilaterally by the mayor, until after the censure vote. I'm glad that that's been remedied. But look at the sequence as a whole. Public comment removed, recorded council deliberation abandoned, a council-initiated process recast by the mayor to the media as her own, no written resolution in the agenda packet, and the public initially placed behind the vote. These are not isolated procedural missteps. At virtually every turn, the mayor, the person whose conduct is supposed to be under review, has controlled this process. This was your responsibility, council. It should have been your process. I hope it is your process tonight. That should trouble every member of the council if it isn't. Thank you.
Dan McMahon, Coralville, Iowa. I'd like to thank the council for wasting another night. The council has serious issues for the city. This is performance theater. Iowa Code 21 says you do not need to have community comment. So we're going to slap Laurie's wrist because she did something that Iowa Code allows. This is performance theater. This council has become performance theater over the course of the last year. Everyone's sitting here with their signs. They're going to applaud when they agree with something. They're not supposed to. It's public comment. They're going to jeer when they hear something they don't like to. If they're not supposed to, it's community comment. This is basically orchestrated chaos. We had a mayor who enabled it before. Unfortunately, there's at least one more council member who continues to enable this. There are serious issues in this city, and we've wasted over a year dealing with one made-up controversy after another. We have a group of people here who claim they want to be respected, and yet, at various council meetings, they've referred to people as bigots, incompetent, ageist, didn't agree with the police officer whose the viewpoints they didn't agree with, so he had to be fired. He was the bigot. Bingo, bango, boing, point served. So, once again, slap her hand, Move on. Remember, there's 20,000 people who live in the city of Coralville, not 25 people who reside in this room. Additionally, you can cut your time down to 2 minutes, because I'm done in 1:30 and I said everything I need to. Have fun.
Fenwick Coney, Coralville. And I'm here because what has happened is a constant and consistent failure of communication from those who supposedly chose a job that is reliant on communicating with the community. Given what has occurred, we shouldn't have to wonder whether or not the people that were accosted by our mayor were actually properly spoken with, apologized to, and included when it came to anything involving resolution for this. Apparently, the only people that need to decide whether or not you have adequately apologized is you. And I'm not saying that just to you, the mayor, I'm saying that to all of you up there. Your job is to listen to what the people in your community are saying and to take action on those needs and concerns. If you can't communicate with us to the point where we come here and feel like we have to literally spell it out so that you might actually pay attention and then maybe actually do something, that is not proper. You want us to communicate in a way that you find more conducive to a conversation, yet we have no means of an actual proper conversation with you. If you want to wonder why our means of communication get louder and, in my case, more and more obnoxious, it's because it's the only thing that gets results from people that want to sit on their asses and do nothing. So, if you cannot step up, listen to the community, realize that there is always going to be more and more things that need addressed unless you're actually fixing things, and can actually stand up to those who sit amongst you and are hindering that process, then you need to step down so somebody who can actually be effective can take that spot.
Good evening. My name is Allison Bywater. I'm a resident of Coralville. And actually, I agree with the person that came up and said that this is like a circus or a clown show. I think clown show is my editorializing. This does not need to be this use of time. This could have been used in so many different ways. If we rewind back a year, this entire council could have been done in many different ways. And then to the point of that Fenwick raised about being able to communicate with leaders, I sent all of you an email with my concerns about Kelly's raise weeks ago and never heard a response. What am I supposed to do? I did a lot of research for that email. I put a lot of time and thought, and to not hear a response from any single person on this council was really disappointing. And then I guess along those lines, would really like you, Laurie, to consider who do you want to represent in this community? Because you literally went to bat for the highest paid employee who's a white man with majoritized identities. But when members of minoritized identities in this very audience have come to you and asked for your support, it's been it's just impossible. The support isn't there. You literally knocked a phone out of someone's hand in support of the highest paid employee, and I see you shaking your head no, and that's also really confusing because, again, this is all on camera. This is very upsetting, and I hate that this is being done in this public of way. I don't think it needed to be done in this way, but here we are, and I'm asking all of you to stand for something else in this community. This is not what Coralville has to stand for. We can do something different starting tonight. You all just need to really determine, who are you representing? Are you representing the people who are very engaged in this community, who are showing up, who are asking for things like bike helmets and a fare free bus ride. I'm not seeing that representation. But despite the fact that we know that the majority of students use that bus, students like me who are remarkably underpaid for the work that we do, like, let's look into a fare free program. There's so many great ideas in this audience, and I can speak at least for myself, but I think for at least several other people, this like war between people is not what we want to be spending our time on. We would love to be thinking with you about different ideas to improve this community. I have a lot of ideas. Please answer your emails. And then also, please don't cut off community comment. There's no reason to put a limit on it. Speak to your constituents because you're certainly not responding to emails. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Paige Liebrecht. I'm a resident of Coralville for about 8 years. And I gotta say, I agree with a lot of what's been said here tonight. I think we should re-examine the way we interact with the world and the ways that we resist. And I think it's really important to provide people a space to do so and to rethink the way that we're doing things. Because it's obviously not working. Try something else. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Shelby. And I'm here to make a public comment. If I can get my pages up and running. There we go. So I have been before this council to make comments in the past. It is to my extreme disappointment that it seems that all of my previous comments have been ignored. This seems to be a trend for this council, ignoring their constituents. And honestly, I believe that politicians, no matter the scale, should be held accountable by their constituents. You are elected not to enrich your own self-interest, but instead to represent your community. Every single one of you, in my opinion, is failing at this core pillar of your job. And I have 2 issues to voice today. My first issue is concerning accessibility. When accessibility is discussed, people often quote the ADA and say, we are ADA compliant. The ADA is not a standard for which we should strive. I stand here putting my health on the line because you do not think about your disabled constituents. I have come here to this council on several occasions using different mobility aids, and not once have any of you asked me or other disabled community members on how best to make attending a meeting and giving a public comment accessible. I have gotten comments from council people saying, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way, and we should really do better. But absolutely no follow through on any accessibility changes from this council. And I have emailed several of you on this issue and received no responses. Or I did receive an email from you, Laurie, who said that a rising desk, they would have to examine the cost for a rising desk. So what I'm hearing is that it's more important for you to save like $200 than to give disabled Coralvillians a place to make their public comment. And then I've also received disturbing comments from Mike Knudsen, who, while watching me struggle to get over a massive lip on the entrance to the door, stated, I guess you'll just have to be strong. Not really appropriate and very ableist of him to say that. My second comment is to do with Laurie's actions against Tara. You attempted to assault a constituent. I need you to sit with that. You attempted to assault a person that you were supposed to be representing on this council. I will finish. You sit up here every week acting as though you are this gracious public servant. But the second someone comes to disagree with you, I will finish my statement. You sought out Tara twice that night to condemn them and attempted to assault them to steal their phone. All over the salary of a man who's not even an elected official. Not to mention the fact that you never actually apologized to Tara or taken any kind of personal accountability for what you did to them. And that is so childish and petty and not becoming of a mayor. So, even though this council seeks simply to censure you, I believe that censure is not enough. You need to resign. If you have any care for your office, you would resign in shame for your behavior. You have failed as a mayor and you have insulted the office in which you hold. Thank you.
Is that our 20 minutes?
Got a couple more minutes.
All right. Is there anyone else? Does anyone else like to speak?
Excuse me, you are not the person that's running the meeting.
Well, she does a very bad job running meetings, so I'm going to stand up here. I'll be the last person to speak, so everybody can go before me.
My name is Tara McGovern. It's very disappointing to see you interrupting people when they are speaking about accessibility concerns. That's very disappointing. And I appreciate everyone who's spoken today. I want to echo also the disappointment in how procedure is not being correctly followed, which makes me think that this is not the end of a situation, but rather the beginning, because there's going to be so much more to cover now because of how things have been handled incorrectly. For two reasons, I want to talk about decorum. The first reason is because decorum is a word that has a meaning that is different from how Mayor Goodrich has recently been using it in press. It was not a breach of decorum to state, as I did at the July 28th meeting, that the council was voting to approve a cost of living increase for the city's highest paid employee the same year that 378 part-time employees were denied cost of living increases. I appreciate Dan McMahon from the Finance Department bringing up Chapter 21 because I also had something to mention about Chapter 21. Not only was that not a breach of decorum, my statement was in support of Chapter 21 of Iowa Code, which seeks to assure that the basis and rationale of government decisions are easily accessible to the people, and also that any ambiguity should be resolved in favor of openness. I was sharing information that should have been relevant to council's decision. Similarly, when community members brought to your attention last summer the information that city staff had signed a $36,000 mass AI surveillance contract in breach of city's purchasing policies and without council knowledge, sharing that information was also not a breach of decorum on my part. Information that is unpalatable to you because of how it disrupts your comfort or understanding is not a breach of decorum. The second reason I want to discuss decorum is because it is very important that you understand that it is not owed to you. The parameters of the First Amendment have nothing to do with civility or being nice or avoiding saying things that people with more institutional power than you might not like. In fact, the First Amendment was specifically designed to protect that kind of speech. When we choose to share information in a way that you perceive as disruptive or unseemly, we are still protected by the First Amendment in doing so. There is no amendment or policy or justification that protects a mayor who repeatedly harasses and assaults constituents and an elected official who abuses their institutional power damages public access to the democratic process.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Jacob Walliser. I'm a resident of Coralville. I'll try to keep this short. I've been interested in kind of following along with the censure process, the activity on the agenda and how stuff's been moved around. And I wanted to echo an earlier constituent's concerns about the lack of a formal resolution. And I want to encourage the rest of the council here tonight, if you're voting on a censure motion or what have you, to make sure that you have the reasons for the censure well documented, the timeline of events, that each of the council members have done a thorough investigation, have watched the footage, have listened to the audio, and make sure everything is entered into public record, just for good procedure, as was mentioned. So thank you.
If nobody else would like to speak, I'm here tonight to ask members of this council, all of you, to request the mayor's resignation. The reason I took charge of public comment like I did a few minutes ago was because the mayor, you've shown yourself to be incapable of doing so effectively. One of several reasons you should resign. But before I go into that, I would like to say this is not performance theater. Citizens are speaking up for what they think is best for the community. And honestly, I think that's the root of the American tradition, which that's a gross thing to say, but that is the American tradition. And because of that, the mayor assaulted somebody. Not only that, but lied about it. The guy who spoke may be okay with the police detective condoning statements that the trans community should not be treated with respect. The mayor obviously does, as her performance at previous meetings shows, but I'm not okay with it. That guy and the mayor may not like Coralville civic processes and the presence of an active citizenry, but I do. And the solutions to these differences is having active discussions like we are having now. Things have been bad throughout the past year. I encourage everybody to review footage from past meetings where the mayor has broken decorum by interrupting speakers for voicing opinions she disagrees with. I would also like to note that the mayor sought advice from the police chief and the city attorney about how to shut down comments that respect decorum but criticize city staff. She's routinely spat upon queer and marginalized communities by refusing to issue proclamations recognizing them. Mayor Goodrich, your poor leadership came to a head on July 28th when you committed a criminal act because someone was expressing their First Amendment rights. And you scolded several other people for being naughty, which is weird. Your behavior at the last meeting, though, was more concerning to me. A normal person would prepare for a meeting like that, have some statement or formal apology prepared, be ready to respond to questions. You didn't. Your reaction when asked in an interview was literally, I have no comment. And that was after he said, do you have a comment? I have no comment. Your citizens demand better because the leadership that you have shown over the last 2 weeks, it's not leadership. And the last few months, I'm sorry. Our city deserves better. So council, please ask for the mayor's resignation. Also, tonight on the work session, I think it would be a great time, during the work session, I think it'd be a great time to ask the police chief about transphobia in his department. Ask him about Josh Van Brocklin. Why is he still an employee? Thank you. And just resign, come on.
Number 4 is motion on proposal to censure Mayor Laurie Goodrich. This is our process. We will have a motion by a council member, we'll have it seconded, and we will have council discussion. This could have been the same thing that we would have had in our work session, but we're having it here in front of everyone at this time. I just want you to know that for me, freedom of speech is a fundamental right. I recognize that by speaking to residents, Tara McGovern-Hill, Justin Comer, Ryan Swanka, and Alana Swanka, after the July 28th meeting, I interfered with their right to express themselves without being confronted by me afterward. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I accept the council's response. I've learned from this experience, and I will not make this mistake again. I ask for a motion, please.
I hereby move that the City Council of the City of Coralville, Iowa, formally censure Mayor Laurie Goodrich. The City Council has a responsibility to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Iowa and to protect the rights of residents to participate in their local government.
Councilmember Nguyen, could I just stop you for a second? I apologize. We just need a second before we can move.
Got it.
Oh, sorry.
So I motion.
You did, yes. So
Yeah.
can somebody give me a second? Then
Second.
Sorry about that. I didn't want to. Thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to outline
You can-
all of the
you can
timeline.
go fast.
Yep. The City Council has a responsibility to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Iowa and to protect the right of residents to participate in their local government. Criticism of government and public officials lie at the core of speech protected by the First Amendment, and residents are entitled to express their view forcefully, subject only to lawful, viewpoint-neutral rules governing time, order, and genuine disruption. This censure is based on the following actions. 1. Conduct at the July 28, 2026 council meeting. During public comment, several residents spoke in opposition to an agenda item regarding the city administrator's salary increase. Mayor Goodrich responded by describing their remarks as horrible, mean, cruel, and unkind. This engagement could reasonably be seen as infringing upon resident First Amendment rights to criticize governmental officials. To preserve the record, video of these exchange will be shown. Do we have the video ready to be
She
shown?
sent it, the word. Yeah.
Yes, somebody
Okay.
come and start it up.
Thank you.
Yes, council members have requested that the video be shown, and I am ashamed of what the video depicts, and I recognize that I should have remained silent. It was after the meeting.
Can I repeat for a minute? I worked part-time for the city of Coralville. Okay. Did you know that? I work part-time. It's not a horrible place to work. You're just being cruel and
No, I'm not
very
being cruel. I was giving facts.
unthoughtful. It's not factual.
What's
What
not
you were
factual?
saying-
Tell me what was not factual, Mayor Goodrich, that I
Okay.
said.
I will, well,
Which part is not factual?
Yeah, that's for,
That I
will
was
not
denied
speak
collective
of that.
bargaining rights?
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's true. Okay.
What part is not factual?
What part is not factual?
Yes, that's my
I
question.
shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
I won't say
What
that's
part is
not
cruel?
factual. You're coming to our meetings and
No.
speaking so horribly about
Nobody's
people.
speaking horribly.
Come on.
What?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm disgusted.
Disgusted
Justin,
by
you
what?
are-
I'm not representing Coralville. You are
We
not
are
representing
residents of Coralville.
Yes, you are residents, but you are not representing
We're representing
the overall
ourselves.
Coralville.
What are you
are
talking
keeping
about?
other people away from our council meetings
How?
by
How?
speaking
Who?
so meanly and cruel. The people
These are
that I
what?
talk to, the people that I'm in contact with all this time,
They're not coming to council meetings because Justin and I are here?
because of the conversation that is going on during our community comments. You have no idea what Kelly Hayworth has done and does for the city. And I am so disappointed in anything that was said about him. It was very inaccurate what the other city administrators get. There's many different things. Some of them get cars, some of them get other amenities that weren't even included in that. I
Mayor
looked
Goodrich, are
at
you
all
saying that you
that.
don't want us to come to the council?
I am not saying that, and you and your phone.
Excuse me?
Yeah, just send it out to everyone. I am not saying you are always welcome. You are always welcome, but you make sure to be kind.
Who is not being
There is
kind?
kindness.
Would you define what you're doing right now as kindness?
Yes, I'm scolding people who have acted
you have no
naughty.
business-
You're like naughty kids.
Excuse me?
Talking.
I'm a 48-year-old
Oh,
person.
man.
I wouldn't know it from the way you present yourself at the meetings.
Give me an example.
I'm disappointed.
Give me an example. Wow.
Be kind.
We were.
Tara, I have nothing to say
You
to
are
you.
not
Move
kind.
on. That is
is not true. Hey, stop talking to her like that right now. You are an elected official.
Oh, Elena. Oh, God.
You didn't even say my name correctly.
No, I didn't, Elena. I'm sorry.
Go. You are an elected official. Stop talking to her like this.
Moving on.
Listen to Alana.
Move on.
Listen to
From
Alana.
your job at the CCPA.
I am a resident of Coralville, and I will show up at the meetings, and I will
welcome
speak
to.
on my own behalf
You're
and on
welcome
behalf of
to,
my
but
family.
I ask you
Stop
to be
harassing
kind.
me.
Be kind to the employees.
Mayor Goodrich,
I
stop
am
harassing
considering you guys harassing our employees.
We are not. We are speaking on behalf of citizens.
Coming to the meetings and engaging.
That's
this is a
fine.
democracy.
You come and engage.
This is
you
a democracy.
speak kindly.
Nobody was being unkind other than you attacking us
wasn't
after the meeting. You
unkind.
tried to grab my phone.
I'm so tired of you guys texting.
It doesn't matter
during our
what we're
meetings and
doing
so on.
at a meeting. You should be paying attention to your
grab
job.
Your phone. I tried.
You did,
I'm
yeah.
I'm getting.
See you at the next meeting.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great, but I'm asking you to be kind and be kind to our employees.
I don't need to take any directions from you, and that's not a direction I need in my life. I'm comfortable with my behavior.
Number 2, removal of public comment from the August 11, 2026 agenda. For the subsequent council meeting, Mayor Goodrich submitted an agenda that omitted the public comment period without consulting the council. This action departed from Coralville's established practice for agenda setting and public participation, and could reasonably be interpreted as retaliatory towards residents who have spoken at the prior meeting. In support of this public censure, the council affirms that residents have the right to criticize their government and its officials, even in language that elected officials might regard as harsh, unfair, unkind, or unwelcome. The right to speak cannot depend on tone or on whether elected officials approve of the message. The council does not ratify the mayor's conduct and clearly distinguish the city's position from action that threatens residents' constitutional rights. Do we do a voice vote?
We need to hear from other people.
Anybody else? I mean, it can be,
Do we
anybody else
open
can talk too.
discussion
It's,
now?
Yes,
it's just like
it's
a
open for
regular,
discussion.
anybody else can talk, yep.
Anybody else can talk?
I just want to say that I worked with my fellow council members to draft that and agree with what I summarized there.
Anyone have any?
I just want to share, there's a quote that it's been on my desk and it's been in part of my business conduct for as long as I can remember. The quote is, "The most dangerous form of blindness is believing that your perspective is the only reality." And that applies to a lot of aspects in business, personal life, and in these chambers as well. All elected persons, whether they're local, regional, state, federal, are expected to be held to a higher standard. We expect that. But we're also human. I mean, Hyatt has mentioned it a number of times. We have personal lives in addition to our public lives as well. We're all human. And every single human has a limit of their tolerance. There can be no denying of that. The limits of tolerance can be changed or can change depending on different circumstances, whether you're taking a personal hit or whether you're trying to defend a family member or someone you respect. The circumstances can change that level of tolerance.
Well, I
Laurie
say
is
again.
Laurie is a
Excuse
good
me.
person. She's had many years of public service in this community. She's a good person. But everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has missteps. They make errors in their lives. And she has acknowledged that. So
Yep, I take full responsibility for my actions, and
there you go.
I will not make this mistake again. Anyone else like to speak? Yeah.
I mean, the letter that was put together pretty much sums it up. You know, it was written well, but yes, I mean, this is very hard. You know, I think we all care about our community. Every one of us, every single person here, obviously, or you wouldn't be here, right? So yeah, we take it very seriously, and you know, it's just really tough to have to go through this all the way around. But I totally agree 100% with the comments that were put together for tonight. So that's about all I have to say.
I prepared something that I would like to read. In a democratic government, residents have a fundamental right to engage their elected official. That right is not only protected, it is encouraged. Trust in government is built when leaders remain collaborative, accessible, and committed to working together for the greater good of the community. We must put our community first and our personal feeling last. Our responsibility is to stay unbiased, remain neutral in our conduct, listen openly, and approach every situation with a solution-seeking mindset. Listening to community members is one of the most important responsibility we hold. Their voices guide our decisions and remind us who we serve. Even when feedback is difficult to hear, our job is to remain professional, neutral, and open to all perspectives. The ripple effect of our action when we act hastily not only fracture trust, but can potentially cause harm to the very people we have sworn to serve and protect. Accountability means having the courage to own up to our own mistake and acknowledge them to our constituent with a sincere apology, followed by action that improve the way we serve our community. We work for the people. The power that vested in us come from the people, and it can be taken away by the people. When we swear an oath to serve, our duty is to the office that residents elected us to, not to our personal preferences or viewpoints. Our job is to create a safe, accessible, and welcoming space for constituents to engage with us and to ensure that every single resident feels heard, respected, and valued. I believe in learning on the job. And I believe that elected officials can grow from challenging experiences. Therefore, I will not call for Mayor Goodrich's resignation. After what has occurred and the action taken by this council, I have confidence that our governing body can move forward together and continue serving Coralville with integrity, even when our personal point of view differ. As leaders, we must conduct ourselves with the utmost professionalism. We must listen to all perspectives, remain neutral, and continually work to maintain and improve our processes and our procedures. I hope that this is a valuable lesson for each of us here today to learn from as we look ahead to serving our community better and strengthening the trust our residents place in us. Thank you.
I just want to add a thank you to all my colleagues for being willing to talk and come to a conclusion that we need to support the right of our constituents, our residents, to speak with us, and through all avenues available to them. And I really do hope that we can move forward from this moment and really focus on the things to continue to make the community a better place. And with that, can I call the vote?
You certainly may. You can have I'll call a roll call just so we have it, everybody, if everybody doesn't mind. Councilmember Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes. Motion passes. Next, we have a presentation, number 6, presentation of the Iowa River Landing Coralville Hyatt Conference Center and the economic impacts. We have Josh Schomburger and Nick Pfeiffer here from Think, Iowa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Josh Schamberger. I'm president of Think Iowa City and the Iowa City Area Sports Commission, the local destination marketing organization. And a couple weeks ago, we concluded a study with a partner as it relates to an economic analysis and impact of the Hyatt Conference Center and Hotel, marking its 20th anniversary. It was 20 years ago, a couple weeks ago, that the Hyatt officially opened in the Iowa River Landing. And so Nick and I, Pfeiffer, our Vice President of Public Affairs, recently finished off this report, and we're here to share just a couple results. For those of you that weren't around 20 years ago, 22 or 3 years ago, just a little bit of a recap. You know, the Iowa River Landing continues to serve as the main entrance to Coralville, and the Hyatt Regency Hotel and Conference Center has supported the growth of the Iowa River Landing since that opening in 2006. Anchored by the 288 guest rooms and more than 60,000 square feet of meeting and conference space, the facility has hosted 2 decades of conferences, events, visitors that have generated activity and businesses throughout the entire 185-acre district and the broader Iowa City Coralville area. In concert with the 20th anniversary of this conference center, we engaged Community Attributes, Inc., to conduct an economic impact analysis quantifying the facility's contributions on the local economy and the community. This study captures the economic impact of the conference center through events and ongoing operations and discusses the facility's role in spurring continued growth and investment within the rest of the Iowa River Landing and beyond. Built in 2006, as I mentioned, to anchor economic development and tourism in Coralville, it is celebrating its 20th anniversary. The facility continues to be owned by the City of Coralville and operated by Marcus Hotels and Resorts under a Hyatt franchise. The city manages the property's operating revenues and expenses through a dedicated hotel enterprise fund. The city's financing approach was unique at the time. Coralville structured the development under the IRS Revenue Ruling 6320, which allows for nonprofit public benefit corporation to issue tax-exempt bonds on behalf of state or local government for public purposes. This structure has allowed the city to use hotel revenues rather than local property tax base to pay off the debt on an economic development-driven conference and meeting center. Originally operated as a Marriott, the property transitioned to the Hyatt in 2021, and the city continues to invest in the property over time through this enterprise fund, most recently completing the major renovation in 2024. Before I turn it over to Nick, who'll just give a couple high points, I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. I was around at that time, and the community did not have, we were the only Big Ten conference, we did not have Big Ten community that did not have a conference center, and there was tremendous demand for conferences and meetings in the Iowa City Coralville area. And the city of Coralville, all the way back in 1983, actually moved forward and putting in their long-range plan at that time the development of a conference center. And that goes back into the mid-'80s, and then in the '90s, and then in the early 2000s, when the opportunity came about for funding and some of the state programs, the city moved forward. So it is unique in its approach, as I mentioned, when it was done. I remember at that time traveling to Overland Park, Kansas, which is another city in the United States that had recently moved in this direction. Up until that time, most cities continue to subsidize conference centers and economic development halls. While they make significant money for the community through all the visitors and expenditures that come in through all of these events, of which I was here just a couple months ago showing you 3 pages worth of events that are coming just this year, they don't make money as standalone entities. Every one of these conferences or sporting events that come to town, the first thing they ask me or they ask the sports commission or our salespeople is, we're getting the building for free, right? Because they know they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars at the local restaurants, in the hotel rooms and things like that. So it is significant, and that's why in nearby cities you see cities continuing to subsidize those events. And it's a good subsidy because of the return it provides the totality of the community. Here, it was a little unique and innovative in that the hotel revenue has paid off the debt on that conference center and continues to support that. So I'll turn it over to Nick for just a couple high points. It is rather significant in 20 years worth of impact. I'll be happy to answer any questions, as I know Nick will, who ably led this study on behalf of our organization and the CAA.
Selected Community Attributes, Inc. They're based in Seattle with offices in Denver and Memphis. We interviewed a few different firms in order that are capable of doing this research. We selected them. We've worked with them on a couple other projects in the past, and we have good references through Iowa City Downtown District has also used them for things. And just point of note, their CEO is a UNI alum and earned his master's degree at the University of Iowa, so there is a little bit of a local connection there. They conducted the research from May to July of this year, and really working with us, with Watts Group, with the city of Coralville, and I do want to point out some great work by Hayden Coleman with the city. Really helped us dig into some research and especially building projects and how those came to be. So without his work, this would have been much more difficult to do. So some key findings, so everybody knows, all the city councilors were given the research report. It's about a 15-page report. It is available on our website at thinkiowacity.com, and it's we've published it on all of our socials, and it's received some good news coverage as well. But number one, since 2006, operations of the facility-driven visitor spending together have estimated to generate $1.1 billion in cumulative economic output and nearly $275 million in cumulative labor income across Johnson County, averaging around 550 jobs per year. So what this is saying, this is because of the investment in the hotel, all this other stuff happened. All the rest of the IRL happened. All of these jobs, all the shopping, all of the events, all that happened because of the hotel, and that adds up to about $1.1 billion. The Hotel and Conference Center as the anchor in Iowa River Landing has evolved since 2006 into an 180-acre mixed-use district, more than 330,000 square feet of retail, office, residential, and entertainment space. And as a result, the IRL has attracted approximately $416 million in follow-up investment. That's everything else that you see in the IRL. Since 2003, the Hotel and Conference Center is drawing roughly 4 million visitors annually into the IRL. The IRL is drawing 4 million visitors annually, with the businesses generating around $25 million in annual sales across those years. So it's built up since 2006. So we're measuring this now just from 2023. And in 2025 alone, the estimated 240,000 out-of-county visitors were drawn to the Hotel and Conference Center, which generated $24 million in direct output, supporting 400 jobs in Johnson County and producing $13 million in labor income. So again, that's 240,000 people coming in from outside of Johnson County to the hotel and conference center, and then from there spending their dollars in Coralville and elsewhere for all of our benefit. So.
That's a short synopsis. As he said, it's a 15-page report. We didn't want to be here for an hour going through all this. We're more than welcome. I'm happy to answer any questions now or at any time you want to give me a call. You know how to get a hold of me. But I think it's a testament to councils before you and the visionary practice, strategic planning and long-range planning that took place. It really takes 10, 20 years to build something like this, and I think the IRL has become a destination in and of itself. I use the word attractor, which I define differently than an attraction. An attraction, in my mind, is a great arts and culture venue, children's museum, all of these great venues that are in town, Riverside Theater. But an attractor is a destination that in and of itself has the ability to bring people here. And the IRL is very much an attractor. And it's because of the long-range work of this council and councils before you. So happy to answer questions. I know you got more on your agenda. So
We're good. We have time for questions. Anyone?
Just like to make a comment. This council stands on the shoulders of
Yes.
everybody that's gone before us. And there have been some great staff. You said you were 25 years with CFC?
I was hired when I was 6.
I think I was.
No, but I just celebrated 25 years, so it's almost time for me to.
And Kelly's been here for 38 years. There's been a lot of staff. There's been a lot of people that have come and gone. A lot of people have sat behind in these seats and have come and gone. But Nick, I don't know how long you've been there, but
9 years for me.
The work that goes on. I mean, I read this report and I was absolutely amazed. I understand the IRL is a tremendous economic engine for our community, for our area, not just for Coralville, it's for our area. And everything that's been done has been absolutely phenomenal. And been countless staff people that have put a lot of time and effort, blood and sweat and tears into making it happen, and making it what it is today. So, I don't know what else to say other than I'm just tremendously, I feel indebted to everybody that's gone before us. The shoulders upon them upon them we stand, and I just want to congratulate all of you, everybody that's been involved with the development, not only the development, but the creation of the vision of IRL. I mean, I still remember the Red Stallion and everything else that was in that area, playing softball on the riverfront. But the vision that was created back so many years ago, and all the work and effort that went into the creation of IRL and the Hyatt, I'm still, quite frankly, amazed and very, very, very thankful for everyone that's been involved. So I know Kelly's been kind of the constant throughout this whole thing, and obviously you too. So
Kelly and Ellen, Don Deal, Kevin. I don't know how many mayors. There's been quite a few in councils, but they've always been great council members and good strategic planning.
So thank you.
This is so helpful for future. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out tonight. Okay, we're on number 7, IRL Parkview Lot 4. This is a public hearing. This final is for 4th multifamily building in the IRL Parkview campus, which will be 4 stories, include 51 units with 39 interior parking stalls, and an additional 27 stalls on the east side of the building. We have Dave Johnson here, our community development Department report and the Planning and Zoning Commission report.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. I'm going to jump right to the master development plan for IRL Parkview. The building under consideration is Lot 4, which is this building on the north side. And these are future buildings that are being shown. Buildings 1, buildings 2 right here, and buildings 3 are complete and occupied. So this is the 4th building in this campus. This building is designed to be in keeping with the approved master building designs for the campus. This 51-unit building is 4 stories, has 39 interior parking stalls on the first floor, and this building will be predominantly red brick and engineered siding, and will have an angled roof to mirror building number 1 opposite of it. There's 11 additional off-street parking stalls provided in front of the building. An additional 27 stalls are provided east of the building. 78 stalls in total are provided in this plan, and this is consistent with the approved parking ratio of 1.5 stalls per unit for the overall development. Staff has reviewed the proposed site plan and finds it conforms with the Parkview Master Development Site and Building Design Standards. Staff has also reviewed the final plat and finds that that conforms with the requirements for preparation and filing. And the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the request at their August 5th meeting, and by a vote of 6-0, the Commission recommended to approve the PUDB site plan and final plat for IRL Parkview Lot 4.
You ready for my typical question, Dave?
Yes.
Which is of 51 units, what's the mix of, do we know the mix yet of 1 bedroom, 2
These are
bedroom?
predominantly 1 and 2 bedrooms.
Okay. And do you know if it's a mix of for rent and for sale, like some of the other properties?
It's my understanding these are all for rent.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing on the PUD site plan for IRL Parkview Lot 4. Would anyone like to speak with us on this subject?
Good evening, Council. I don't have my comments are topical to this agenda item in that it's regarding the mayor officiating these proceedings after being censured. Because honestly, I think what we just saw was a reaction to the mayor, her lack of leadership and treating the public horribly.
We're going to take a break.
I was watching that newscast.
Okay, we're number 7, and we're at the public hearing on the PUD site plan for IRL Parkview Lot 4. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this subject? Is there any written? Any written?
No written, sorry.
Okay. I'll close the public hearing, and now D, consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the final plat for IRL Parkview Lot 4, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Peterson. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Aye.
Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. E, consider resolution, please.
Resolution approving the PUDB site plan for Lot 4 IRL Parkview, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Wynn. Council discussion?
This may be a funny question, but does that building right here, does it look crooked?
Which one?
That very last one closer to us.
This one?
That one, yes.
I think it's just the perspective.
Okay.
But it is set at a angle.
Yeah.
Let me show you the site
roads.
plan.
The roads.
Oh, I see.
So that was, I'm sorry, this was building one. This was the first one built. And this has always been the master plan. So yeah, you're right. That is at about a 40-degree angle.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 8, Coral Ridge Commerce Park, Part 2, Phase 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, and 16. This amendment will move the future trail location from Lot 12 to be entirely on Lot 14 and increase the stormwater sewer drainage easement and trail easement from 30 feet to 36 feet total. Community and Development Department and also the Planning and Zoning. Those reports by David Johnson, please.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So this is actually a really, really slight change. Lot 12 previously had some of the future trail that is connecting, which is actually east to west, the way that this is laid out. But there's a trail that is going to connect over here. And what this amendment to the preliminary plat does is it puts the entire 16-foot public trail easement on Lot 14, whereas it was on 12 before. Lot 12 is a agenda item that will be following this evening. And then they also widened the public storm sewer and drainage easement. That's it. That's the only change. All the lots stay the same. The road alignments, everything else is identical to what was previously approved.
Okay, let's hear the resolution, please, and then we'll have discussion.
Resolution approving the amended preliminary plat for Coral Ridge Commerce Park, Part 2, Phases 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 16. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. Discussion, questions?
What was the
Why do I
reason
feel
for
I'm
it?
in an elevator? We skipped 13.
Yeah, I noticed that.
We asked that too, but it must be like the elevator skip.
Is it an elevator thing?
Yeah.
Really? It's just
I don't know. They just
is that
decided
really
to
what
skip-
happened?
They just decided to skip 13 for some reason.
Okay.
But what was the reason for moving it from 12 to 14?
I'm not 100% sure, other than it will hopefully lay out better on Lot 14, but Lot 14 is only slightly larger than 12 was.
I was going to say, are they the same size?
They're
or
pretty
something?
much the same size.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If you would like, the engineer for he could since Scott's not here, I bet you he will
Okay.
give you.
Hi, Ron Amelon with MMS Consultants. Part of the reason to move the trail to the north was that there's a couple sanitary manholes on top of the existing storm sewer as it runs down on Lot 12, and to not have the castings in the trail, which is something we'd like to avoid if we can for maintenance reasons. And then also there's a bioswale on the north side of Lot 12, and just to get a little more separation to grade from the elevation that was necessary for the swale for the drainage over to the sidewalk, we felt it was best just to move it a little bit north.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amelon. Good explanation. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Even though I have to I have to recuse myself. Even though I have no financial interest in this property, nevertheless, I do wish to recuse myself from voting on this matter, lest any person might even perceive a potential conflict of interest.
Okay. Councilmember Wynn.
Aye.
Okay. We have 4 ayes and 1 abstain. Resolution passes. Thank you. Number 9, Lot 12, Coral Ridge Commerce Park, Part 2, Phase 10. This is a public hearing. This development will have 9,620 square feet single-tenant building on the north side of the lot and an 11,110 square foot multi-tenant building on the southeast corner. 137 parking stalls are proposed. Again, we have Dave Johnson with the reports.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. You covered quite a lot in this. I would just note that the buildings are all predominantly glass and brick, so they meet the design requirements for commercial buildings. This is the single tenant building, the north building, and then the building on the south. This is the multi-tenant building. For reference, and the property is 2.46 acres. We've reviewed this project, and we find that the zoning is consistent with the Coralville community plan of arterial commercial. And staff also finds that the proposed site plan and building design meets the design requirements set forth in the zoning code. And the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at their August 5th meeting, and by a vote of 6-0, the commission recommended approval to rezone Lot 12, Coral Ridge Commerce Park Phase 10, Part 2 from the C2 Arterial Commercial District to the CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District and the PUDB site plan. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing to rezone Lot 12. Is there anyone that would like to speak with us on this? Any written?
No written.
No written. Close the public hearing and please read the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2026-1010, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 12, Coral Ridge Commerce Park, Part 2, Phase 10, from C2 Arterial Commercial District to CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District. This ordinance introduced for first consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Quinn. Discussion or questions?
I have just a generic question of what's the difference between arterial, commercial, and what we're going to?
Yeah, Katie, great question. So the C2 Arterial Commercial District allows for service businesses, retail, general commercial, offices, things like that. It's a wide-ranging commercial district. It's one of our traditional commercial districts. The reason they had to rezone to a PUD, a commercial PUD, was they wanted to place two buildings on one lot. So in our zoning code, whenever you want to put two buildings on one lot, you have to do that under a planned unit development, which is approved through city council, as well as in a development agreement with the city. PUDs can be very advantageous because you can be more flexible in how buildings orient. You can use space lots better than maybe sometimes in a traditional zoning district. And this would be a good case of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilperson Freeman.
Aye.
Knudsen.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Again, I would need to recuse myself, even though I have no financial interest in this property. Nevertheless, I wish to recuse myself from voting on this matter, lest any person might even perceive a potential conflict of interest.
Councilmember Wynn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
All right, 4 ayes, 1 abstain. Ordinance passes. We are skipping the next one and down to number 11, Coralville West Village. The preliminary plat was previously amended in 2024 to allow for zero-lot development, Phase 1, which is under construction. This amendment is for remainder of the subdivision and meets the requirements of the PUD-A Master Development Plan. Again, we have reports from Dave Johnson, please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. For reference, the preliminary plat for Part 1 that was already approved is for this area just south of Tommy Lane, west of Keystone Kenyon Court. Just to give you a perspective view of where this development is, the new elementary school is just west of this subdivision. This is Part 1. This is the area that's under construction now. So if you were to drive out there, you'd see 4 or 5 homes under construction. I do believe one of the townhomes has sold. And what this does is this brings the rest of the townhomes and single-family lots up to date in terms of preliminary plat. Each one of these townhomes will have its own lot. This was an effort by the developer to try and make units as affordable as possible. These lots are smaller than what is typical. However, by doing this, a buyer can be eligible for a 30-year FHA loan on a property, so they can get the best interest rates in purchasing. These lots here to the east remain one lot, and these contain multifamily buildings. In the northeast corner here is a mixed-use building. There'll be commercial on the first floor, residential above. This is a mixed-use building here. And then we have an apartment building here. And then we also have multifamily buildings down here, as well as recreation areas and dog parks in this development. But for right now, we're just bringing the rest of the subdivision up to standard with the preliminary plat.
Consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the amended preliminary plat for Coralville West Village, Coralville, Iowa. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Freeman, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Discussion, questions?
Yeah. Dave, is there any room or potential for affordable housing to go into these lots?
I'm Councilmember Nguyen, I'm not 100% sure on where they are on their financing and their money. I really don't know what they have to sell these units at in order to meet their pro forma.
Okay. But is it a possible conversation that, as community development, when and planning and zoning, you can fold that into the conversation when talking with the developer?
For this development, the master development plan is done. I can tell you that, over the last year or so, when I meet with developers, I am emphasizing the importance of a mixture of housing types. We're looking for affordability, things of that nature. So it is something that I am communicating.
What do we have as a city? I think we were asking to allocate some funding toward affordable housing, so maybe we could look into using some of that as an incentive somewhere as far as development.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where we're at on that pool of money, but that would be certainly a conversation to have with the developer.
I would love to have a conversation as a council, as a body of government, just to discuss with staff to see what we can do.
I would agree. If we could, work session conversations to start having, since we do know that money's coming at some point in time, so that we can talk and maybe have more conversations with Dave and other staff just to understand, what's that process and where can we have some say.
Iowa City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're kind of in limbo right now with terms of how much money we're going to get from loss. We should get a report here soon, and hopefully that comes in.
I do know that we already have $700,000 in there, since the $300,000 was going to make it $1 million.
Right, and we did spend almost $700,000 on the first purchase, and then we have to match the grant on the property to the north of.
Right.
So we'll get you an accounting of that, but we've spent almost all of the money we have so far in those 3 projects. That, the adjacent lots to 4th Avenue Place, and then the building on 5th Street.
I think Iowa City, Katie and I have talked a little bit about what they've been doing, and they're doing. It's a different scale. First of all, they have a lot more revenue to put behind some of their projects, but it might be nice to hear what they're doing and how they're doing it, because I know I think they're in part collaborating with developers.
Correct. I think there is.
I'm just not exactly sure how they do it and democratize it, so to speak. You want to open up the opportunity for not just one developer, but anybody who might be interested and have kind of a process for doing that. So it might be worth having Iowa City, somebody from Iowa City tell us about that at some point.
I think they work with several Johnson County entities, so I would imagine that those same entities could come share that same information and talk about similar collaborations.
I think it worth to vote in the conversation, and especially on the staff point. If there's any idea or anything that council needs to know, or any information that would help in that regard, please bring that forward.
I think it
to
sounds
us.
like that'd be a great discussion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson. Aye. Freeman.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 12, water plant filter media replacement and repair 2025. This project removed and replaced the filter media of 2 filters, replaced link seals for piping penetrations and 4 filter walls, disinfected the filters, and miscellaneous work at the water plant. The retainage due is 30 days at $6,962.97. Motion to approve the pay estimate, please.
So move.
Moved by Nguyen,
Second.
second by Freeman. Discussion? Roll call.
That'll be a voice vote, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Voice vote, please. All aye. All in favor?
Aye.
All against, same sign. Motion passes. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving the water plant filter media replacement and repair 2025 is completed. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, second by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Discussion.
I'm assuming this would have been in our budget that we planned for, so what is it in comparison to that? Like, I'm trying to just understand where we're at in regards
That
to
was
budget.
all included within the budget.
Okay.
That's a cheap project, too.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 13, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, that's called, Housing Rehabilitation Roof Replacement Program, contract number 26HSGR 005. This is for developing and carrying out a planning and administrative program for the CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Roof Replacement Fund Program. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the contract with the Community Development Block Grant Services with the East Central Iowa Council of Governments for the CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Roof Replacement Fund Program. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelsang, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Nguyen. Discussion?
Kelly, could you give like an overview of what this program is about so that the general public have a better idea? And then when it will be in effect and...
Yeah, this will be for 6 houses. They have to be owner occupied and they have to be income eligible. And they can get up to $30,000 for the replacement of the roof. And this is the last item council needs to take action on. And then they will be able to request, ECOG will be able to request release of funds, which means that then we can start advertising. So they said within about a week to 2 weeks, we should be approved to start asking for applications. And it's a very good program. There are a couple of steps. We do have to go through a historic preservation study on each individual home. So that'll be done once we select the homes. You can't do it obviously without knowing which homes it is, but and then they have to have their income qualified as well.
Okay. Do we know the income line?
That'll all be on because it'll depend on number of members of your family is a determining factor, and that'll all be online at ECOG, an application location for the city of Coralville, and so we'll direct everybody to that website.
Okay.
And so would it potentially be accepting applicants by the next meeting?
I would guess for sure the following meeting,
okay.
but hopefully by the next meeting, yeah.
Okay.
And we had like 5 different agencies that helped support this, and we'll send notice to all of them to also encourage their individual members or participants to let them know as well.
To apply. How bad does the roof have to be?
That's a good question. I do not know the answer to that. Yeah.
Well, your income will define that.
Well, I mean, but
That's a good question. I'll ask that.
It doesn't sound like it's part of the. If you have a leaky roof, you might prioritize them over somebody who just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you.
But it doesn't sound like that's a criteria that's used.
I don't know that. I'll ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you know if there is any sort of limitation on here? Because I know that EasyCard administer a lot of similar program, for like home betterment thing. So if a participant has participated in like prior program, would it be qualified for this if it's a need?
Yes,
Okay.
if they can show the need. Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, part of my question was going to be kind of in line with like how bad does it have to be, but do you, other than the historical determination of the home, you get to pick whether you want a metal roof, if you want to do an overlay of asphalt, if it's, is there, I guess, stipulations on that, or is that just to the homeowner's preference, and then they just qualify for a certain amount of money to put towards that project?
Yeah, they do qualify only. I know it's a maximum of $30,000, but I will find out if there's specific rules on the type of roof.
I know we've had other people for like rehab projects that paid extra just to get what they needed. So, but
That's a big chunk to help toward the roof.
yeah, I know it's
Good discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wynn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Knutson,
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 14, Law Enforcement Mental Health Liaison. This reimbursement agreement between the Coralville Police Department, North Liberty Police Department, and Johnson County Sheriff's Department is for a law enforcement liaison for mental health crisis support and follow-up. The law enforcement liaison is an employee of the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, and each party is responsible for 1/3 of the cost of this position. Coralville's reimbursement is $897.71 per month for fiscal year 2027. Consider the resolution, please.
Resolution approving a reimbursement agreement between the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, the Coralville Police Department, and North Liberty Police Department for a law enforcement liaison. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Freeman. Council discussion, questions?
Yeah, I just had a few questions. Chief Nicholson? I'm curious if you could just give a summary of the type of work because I know we already have one mental health liaison, so what is the kind of work that they do with the department?
This is the exact same agreement for the same mental health liaison. So you might recall during the budget process, we were requesting a second full-time position. Unfortunately, that funding was not there through the Iowa Primary Care Association. So that funding was denied. This individual responds to all sorts of different types of calls, but she also maintains a caseload of individuals that she works with on a regular basis, whether they're Johnson County residents, North Liberty residents, Iowa City residents, not Iowa City, Coralville residents. Iowa City has their own program. And so this is our way of getting her to help us respond to various calls for service when someone might be in crisis, but also if a person needs prolonged care, she can help get them connected with different things and maintains that caseload of those residents.
Different resources within the community.
Absolutely.
So that was going to be, maybe you already answered the follow-up question. I just wondered, so do they attend calls with officers?
They will attend calls with officers as requested, or sometimes she will even jump calls and say, hey, that's something I need to go to with you.
Okay.
But usually it's like we're requesting her response to come with us. Unfortunately, she's, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type of a thing. And so we do have other calls that go to mobile crisis and those types of things. But
Will
it's a start.
Will the second person be able to help offset any of that?
We've tried, but again, that funding's not there. And so we will again try next fiscal year.
Okay.
So, Chief, how long has we been in How long have we been sharing this person? This is our second year?
This is the second year that she's fallen under the umbrella of the Johnson County
Yes.
Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
But prior to that, I want to say that we've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now.
Oh,
And
contracted
it's
with her, but without...
contracted with this type of a position,
type of
per
position.
se.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a report on, since it's been under that umbrella for 2 years, is there a report for maybe just this year of like how much of the response she does as far as with the City of Coralville Police Department?
I will share
and then
that.
what type of work? I think that would be helpful to us.
I don't have the specific type of work, but I can give you some stats here later on this evening.
That would be great. Yes, thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Peterson.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
All ayes, resolution passes. Number 15, consider motion to approve consent calendars presented. Let's see, A through CC.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Freeman, second by Peterson. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Freeman.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelsang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
I'd just like to mention, we had in our last work session, when we were talking about policy, purchase policy, and the one, item Z is a perfect example of what we were talking about in that meeting, the water superintendent needing to purchase something that was from the same company rather than getting bids and so on, because it matched with the automation that they had already. I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, so we had our roll call, all ayes, motion passes. Thank you. City Administrator's report.
Yeah, the only thing I have, Mayor, is that the final repair work on the section of Heartland Drive north of Costco, Commerce Drive, Heartland Drive roundabout.
Yeah.
That is completed as of today, and so there's just one final phase that'll happen later next week, and that's on the very north end, which is part of the north entrance to Costco. And so that will happen towards the end of next week. You'll be able to enter at the north entrance, but you will have to go south to exit through the roundabout. So both exits will be to the roundabout. So I just want to make people aware of that. That'll be the last change, and that'll be later next week, and then everything will be able to be opened.
Great, great. And Costco is doing their own construction.
They are doing their own construction. Sometime next week, they should complete the storm sewer, which is a public improvement, combining two that go across the area of their gas station and into one, and then that'll all be connected, and then they'll be able to close the gas station to do all the construction work that they're going to do on that.
Great, thank you.
Do we know how long it's going to take them to do that?
About
Kelly?
2 months.
2 months. It's in time for winter.
Mayor's report. I'd like to welcome everyone back to school and encourage everyone to take care on the streets and driveways. Also, we have Monday, September 7th is Labor Day, so offices, the library, recreation center, and indoor pool will be closed with no transit service. So, and trash and recycling collection schedules will be impacted with pickup being 1 day later than usual. I know our council members have some other things that they'll share about different activities going on, but first, how about city attorney's report?
Kelly said he had one more.
I had
so
one
go
more
ahead.
item I forgot.
Okay.
We've had several complaints recently about the control of animals that they, especially dogs, that they need to be leashed. We've got signs up around the community. We've had an education piece in the connection. Some people think that having the electronic collar meets the requirements, and it doesn't. It needs to be leashed when they're out in the public. We had a couple of near incidences where other animals or kids were approached by these dogs. So we just remind people, we got new people moved into town, you got to have your dog on a leash, and please also pick up after your animal, because that's been another large complaint, especially in large green space areas, that people aren't picking up either. And so in all city green spaces, we do have the bag receptacles for people, and we provide trash cans as well. So we just encourage people to use them.
Thank you. Councilor Freeman, would you like to start off, or city attorneys? Sorry.
I was just going to say, since my wife's a librarian, I was just going to, as everybody probably knows, Dolly Parton passed away today, and as many of you know, and our library participates in her Imagination Library program. She's given millions of books to all sorts of kids across the country. So sad to see her go, but she did a lot of good work on while she was on Earth here.
Wonderful legacy. Yeah.
Or I like to say, can all the cool old people stop dying?
Yeah.
Because Betty White needs to come back too.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have anything tonight. I'm hoping next time to have some updates on the Art Council, but nothing tonight.
Councilor Peterson?
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, one of the things I wanted to touch on was the IRL, the impact, the economic impact. And the reason I wanted to say something is because 20 years ago, as a carpenter, I got to work on that project, and it did affect my income. What I thought was really great about that project back then was, being the first big building down there, it was done through the city as a project labor agreement, which guaranteed area standards, wages, and benefits on the project for all employees that worked on it. Since then, one of our former governors banned project labor agreements in the state of Iowa, so unfortunately we're not able to do those anymore, but they are encouraged with federal funding. So, but yeah, no, and I wanted to commend our staff and council and mayor at the time to make that a project labor agreement, because it did affect a lot of people that made decent wages on the job. So great project, and we've done several projects in that area, Extreme Marina, that we've had the opportunity to benefit from. A couple other things. We met with some constituents, and they had some really good ideas that I think that we should look into, and one of them would be maybe doing some public forums, maybe a couple counselors getting together, meeting for coffee, going to a public place and talk to our constituents and try to open up more of a dialogue with our constituents as opposed to just the meetings. I know we all have other, obligations in life and stuff, but I think if we try hard, we could find time to do forums every now and again, and I'd be willing to do that with anyone on this board, anytime. Well, I can't say anytime because I have a job and other things, commitments and stuff too. So I just wanted to put that out there. There was some discussion about some covered bus stops on our busy routes, and there was some great ideas on how to do that. Possible like apprenticeship, doing some volunteer work or something. I don't know what that looks like and if we were able to do that, but I thought they were great ideas, right? So, and the other thing we received, I heard from several people that they'd like to see us respond to emails more. I will admit I'm totally guilty because I see 1,000 emails and it just, anyway, no excuses. I will work hard to get better on returning emails. I see when other city council people respond to them. Sometimes I kind of take that as the easy button, and it's like, okay, they responded, and it's something that I would have said, so I don't respond, and that's not right either. So I should do better, and I will. And then there was an email that came in from a gentleman that voiced some concerns about helmets with scooters and other things in the community here recently, and he had some great ideas that I think that we could adopt. or try to adopt. But those are great things. I mean, that's us working together to improve our community, and I think we need to do that anytime we can. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few things tonight. The pantry is partnering with the mobile clinic to host a mobile clinic at the church community room, which is the share room between the pantry and the church, this Saturday from 10:30 to 1 p.m. Anybody can come, and they have everything from blood pressure to cholesterol screening, diabetic. They have vision this time. They also have physical therapy, neurology, and also dental work as well. And this is open to everyone. You don't need to make an appointment. You just come on in. These are made possible by some of the professor at the medical school, and then the student who are studying to become doctor. And they provide wonderful services. They partner with a lot of different nonprofit organizations, and for us, they'll be able to come to the pantry 3 times this year. So one this Saturday, August 29th, and then the next one is October 24th, and then the last one is December 5th, because they cycle through different cohorts. And so every time they have a new cohort, we have to establish that relationship again in order to get the information. And then they have to work with, their professor in order to bring in all of these available services. So I have the flyer here in 4 different languages: English, Spanish, French, and Arabic. I'll leave it here for the city, and hopefully we can put it up somewhere that the general public can access this. Otherwise, it's posted on the pantry website and social media, or you can stop by the pantry and pick up a quarter sheet.
I can give it to Thor.
Yeah, thank you.
City clerk.
And then 2 weeks from, maybe 2 weeks from yesterday, which is on a Thursday, the pantry is partnering with the library and some other department in the city to host a community meal. This is a meal where I think it's one of the biggest meal because it sort of signify the end of summer, the beginning of school year. It's gonna be like a picnic style out in the front library lawn. There will be music, activities, a lot of different groups gonna come and share information. We will also have vaccine there as well. Right now we have COVID and flu. Secure for sure for folks who have insurance, and then also for folks who are uninsured. We are working on getting hopefully nurses who can administer children for both insured and uninsured. But make sure you help to spread the words, and hopefully we'll get people to come enjoy a picnic, get some vaccinated, and some relevant information in the community. And again, I will leave this here. And if you like to cook or, hang out or serve or bake cookies, there's a Sign Up Genius online, so come do that with us as well.
Thank you.
Let's see, library. The library board have a meeting, a board meeting every Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. Usually it's a lot of really good information. They talk about, what the library do in our community, and then also some of the, funding source that coming from like friend of the library, also the foundation. And so if you ever wanted to know more about what your library does behind the curtain, I would encourage you to join the meeting. It is an open meeting. It's a public meeting open to all residents. And it usually takes place in the boardroom in the library from 6 to 7 o'clock on the first Wednesday of the month. So I would encourage residents to come and participate in that. And I think that's all I have.
Did we have Welcome Week coming up?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me that. Johnson County is participating in Welcoming Week, which is happening in September. So September 10th is the first day of Welcoming Week, and September 19th is the last day. They already have a soccer tournament this past Saturday, just to kick off. It was 4 different international teams. They had it at the IC Kickers field, and it's turned out to be really good. And so the meal will be the second community-wide kickoff for that welcoming week as well. And there's a lot of other activity that happening around Iowa City, North Liberty, Coralville, and some other small community as well. If you would like to have a yard sign, you can contact Greater IC. They have some welcoming yard sign that if you want to put in your yard, they have those available. So I would encourage you all to check out the calendar and come participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vogelsang.
Thank you. Just to kind of follow up, we have, I'm speaking for myself, but I listened to all the feedback that we get, and a lot of things can't be done overnight. The economic impacts have to be considered, the economic demands, the planning thoughts, and the planning's time that goes into making things happen. It can't be done overnight, so we do hear you. We also have, we represent 24,000 residents in this city, and so we have to consider everybody. What's good for the greater good. Just a comment, maybe it's because of the grass that's been growing because of all the rain, but I've been noticing a lot of grass clippings thrown out into the streets lately, and that's not where grass clippings are supposed to be. They end up down in the sewer systems, and that's not a good thing. But on a more fun note, Fry Fest is a week from Friday, which means football is 10 days away. So, and with football coming to town, that adds to the economic impact that we have that we heard about. So, great. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor Knudsen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As somebody who has a PhD and has formal training, at least some formal training in public speaking, and you would think might be good at it. I've been humbled the last couple of weeks by speeches or comments that both Councilmember Freeman and Councilmember Wynn have made, and I just want to let them know it's an honor and a privilege to serve on the council with them. That's all I have.
Madam Mayor, I forgot one thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers we own the Arby's building that was on First Avenue. So the restaurant, the whole Arby's was gutted. They are open. They just opened last week. So I think they would love it if people stop by. I think they're open 7 to 3. They do breakfast and lunch. So I did stop in there on Saturday. So.
What's the name of it?
You said Arby?
Butter and Jam. It's the old Arby's building on First Avenue.
Arby. Okay. I
South
thought you
of the-
said Arby.
Sorry, I didn't
It's
enunciate
my
well.
area.
My wife always tells me that. But so that's south of the Drury ramp there. So
Hey, good.
it's breakfast and lunch basically. They close at 3. So
And with that, I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Moved by Peterson,
Second.
second by Knudsen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned. Work session will be held here in the council chambers in 5 minutes.